Okay, this is now tarot lesson number 95, and we're going to look a little bit more at a horoscope spread, partly because you might want to try it, but also, and I think mainly so that you get practice figuring out questions that people might ask and then practicing picking cards to answer that particular question. So somebody might want to know, who am I going to marry? Tell me about the person I'm going to marry. And let's say you get the Ten of Swords. Our first reaction might be to look at the Ten of Swords and think this is a bad card or something like that. And so the marriage is not going to go well, or it's going to be delayed, or whatever it happens to be. It's going to be, you're going to marry and then divorce. But the thing is, the question wasn't what's going to happen when I get married, because that would be maybe, okay, it's going to be difficult and you're going to wish you hadn't got married in the first place. But the question was, what kind of person am I going to marry? And the answer is the Ten of Swords. Somebody who has been through a lot and who has had suffering and hardship in their life, who's been stabbed in the back more than once, so they've had friends and associates who double-crossed them, or who didn't do what they said they would do, didn't fulfill their promises. And so you're giving the questioner information about the type of person they're going to marry so that they can be prepared for it. Because sometimes some people get married to happy-go-lucky people who've never had a problem in their life. But with this individual asking, who will I marry, and getting the Ten of Swords, they have to be patient and they have to be understanding. And it may be that things will happen, or the person will treat you in a way that you don't like, but it's because they've been double-crossed before. So maybe what you do is you make sure that if there's a problem, that you bring it up, or you discuss it and bring it into the light so that the person can understand. This may have happened to them in the past where people didn't fulfill their promises, but you're different and you're going to be able to help them maybe make it, because 10 is 1 plus nothing, help them make a fresh start. And there's no real need to relive difficulties from the past. So okay, so this, if you remember, this is the self, the first house, values, how you communicate, the father, children. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is, we'll get to that in a bit. But I want you to point out that the first house is the self, but it's the second house from the 12th. And the 12th house, so the second house is value sense, right? So because this first is the second from the 12th, this card here, the Empress, will show you the value sense that you bring in from other lifetimes. Because the 12th house represents other lifetimes. So we get the King of Cups, for instance, here. So if somebody, the thing is, you're not going to look at this first card and automatically start talking about the value sense they bring in from other lifetimes. But if somebody wants to know, maybe they're talking and they say, I sometimes wonder if I've had other lifetimes or past lives, and if I'm suffering in this lifetime because of what I brought over from the past. And you can, if you're doing a horoscope spread, you can look at this card, the Empress, and say, no, it's with you. It can be like that for some people, but it's not like that for you, because you, from other lifetimes, you have brought memories of success and ease and comfort and things going well and good relationships with women, because it's the Empress, and success. But so you were able to build something and make a go of it, because the Empress runs an empire in her own way. So you can maybe put the person's mind at ease and say, if there are difficulties going on in this lifetime, they're because of what you're doing now. They're not because of some karmic debt or hangover from another lifetime. Because the first is the second from the 12th. The first is also the third, 1, 2, 3, from the 11th. The 11th house represents your friends, right? So maybe in the reading, the person is talking about a friend who hasn't got in touch with them for a long time, and they want to know why. So that's the friend, the Four of Coins reversed. So we know that the friend at the moment is not, they're not happy. They're maybe trying to hold on to what worked in the past, because the person's sitting there, as you can see, they're holding tightly to a coin, which can represent money, but maybe that's why they're not calling, why they're not getting in touch, because they're having financial difficulties. But because coins represents values, it can be that the person they've been going along in one way for a long time, and they're trying to hold on to it and duplicate it, but it's not working, so it's time for a change. And maybe they don't call you because they don't want help, they don't want advice, they don't want to talk to somebody who's doing well. So the other thing is, with the 11th house, I'm sort of getting ahead here, but the 11th house represents the questioner's hopes and aspirations, what they hope for, what kind of future they're looking for. So at this point, you would say to the questioner, your hopes and wishes are represented by the Four of Coins reversed. So it's time to figure out what things you're going to care about as you go forward, because with the Four of Coins reversed, if you keep doing what you've always been doing, it's not going to give you satisfaction. It's not going to work for you. So it's a good idea to think about what new things you would do, what changes you would introduce into your life going forward to make things better. It may not. The first change you make may not immediately work, but that doesn't matter, because what's important is that you're introducing new things into your life and see what happens with them. So today I was going to look at the fourth house, which is the father, but the fourth house shows the condition at the end of life. So when you turn this card, it doesn't mean how you're going to die, because if you remember, we're looking at a horoscope spread for, let's say, the next 6 months, or now it's the middle of September, so maybe if we were doing this realistically, the person would want to know, okay, tell me about between now and the end of the year, right? Because the end of the year is a sort of nice end point for a new beginning the next year in 2024. So here, the card in this position with the Three of Coins upside down would show the kind of situation you will be in at the end of the year. So you're optimistic here. You've got big ideas, and things will go well because you're represented by the Empress upright. But by the end of the year, this happens to be number 3, and that's the Three of Coins. So there's a connection in that way. But the Three of Coins shows this is the Three of Coins is the card of the craftsman. The 8 is the apprentice. But here you're if you're studying, or if you're looking for a reward for your efforts, it's not going to happen the way as much as you want at the end of the year. So maybe what you do with this card is check, okay, you've got where you are now, and you've got where you want to be at the end of the year, but make sure this is September, in middle of October, in the middle of November, in the middle of December, that you're actually on track for where you want to go or where you want to end up. Because you can be, with this Three of Coins reversed, maybe you're going to get sidetracked along the way. And so you're not going to be able to get where you want to go. And that's because where you want to go has changed. So if you're sure about your direction and what you want the outcome to be by the end of the year, then make sure that you course correct as you go through over the next few months. The other thing is that's 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth house shows, let me look at the time. Okay, the fourth house shows the condition at the end of life. But it also means that if you want to know about the 10th represents your business. So if you want to know how is business going to go, with the Knight of Pentacles up top in the 10th house, 1, 2, 3, 4. This card will show you the final outcome or the condition at the end of the year for the person's business or work or career. So with the Knight of Pentacles here, you are sending out good thoughts, good messages. You are a messenger of good tidings, whatever it happens to be, and it's going to end well, because the final outcome of your efforts here, as you communicate, as you send out ideas and thoughts, here represented by the Knight of Pentacles, the final outcome, 1, 2, 3, 4, is the Empress. So things they're going to bear fruit, and in a big way, because it's a major trump. So whatever you're doing, do more of it and do it now, because it's going to benefit you in the long run. Certainly by the end of the year, because the final outcome of your projects maybe, or your communications, because Knights are messengers, or you're traveling around and getting in contact with different types of people, that's going to be good, and you're going to be glad that you did it, because it's the Empress and it's upright. So that's something more, and so you can, I'm not quite sure what I want to talk about next. I had wanted to mention about combining cards or blending them, because this is you, or the questioner, and this is the value sense, the High Priestess. So you put these two cards together and you've got a more complete picture of the questioner. They're optimistic and careful, or optimistic and carefree and sociable, but they're also careful, because their value sense is represented by the High Priestess, who is serious and knowledgeable and wise. So you can begin to put these two cards together to give more information about the person. Whereas if the High Priestess had been reversed, then this is you and you're friendly and sociable, but because the major trump is upside down in the value sense, we're thinking of it as a but. This is going well, but you don't act wisely when you know you should, because the High Priestess is upside down. So you're friendly and sociable and you know a lot, but you're not continuing to learn more, and that may end up badly, or you may end up with problems that you don't need to have, or that you wouldn't have had if you'd acted more wisely in the short term. So by looking at two cards as parts of the same story or parts of the same answer, you're able to give a more complete answer, or to touch on different aspects of the same kind of situation by looking at two cards. And then we can do more, but I'm getting near the end of the time, so I'm going to stop. So that was a little bit about kind of the fourth house and how to begin to read more details, or how you can begin to connect different areas of life and see what the person can expect in these different areas of life. Okay, today is, I don't know, the middle of September. I'll be back in a few days, whatever date it is. I'll see you then. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.